Wednesday totally busted out of her cocoon.
Wednesday Addams. What a lovely surprise.
Miss Thornhill? The first thing that I think is there's no way that she's gonna dance, because why would she enjoy doing all of these different activities with people? There's a really big difference between having social anxiety, the fear of judgment of others, and being introverted, which means that you don't really get energy from hanging around with other people. It's actually kind of exhausting. Versus an extrovert gets energy from being around others and kind of feeds off of it. An introvert, after hanging out with everyone else for a long period of time, needs to go back into their cocoon and relax. So Wednesday is definitely more introverted, but does not at all have any social anxiety. I'm sorry about the music. It's not going to be able to be used in this video because they will come after me and copyright strike all over the video, so my apologies for that. Cool things about Wednesday is that she really doesn't care what anyone else thinks, and to such a great degree. Most of us are kind of hard set to care at least a little bit about looking silly or about being judged or about being mocked. She couldn't care less. She dances as though she's at home, alone, just doing her thing. For people, dancing is especially hard because one is that you're doing something different than anyone else. There's not really any rules to dance, so you can't really fall into those lines. So a lot of people with even mild social anxiety have a great difficulty going on the dance floor, especially doing something that would be outside of the range of what other people are doing. And so her opening scene of when she kind of throws her arms up in this kind of dead movement is so extreme that right away it garners attention. And that's the last thing people with social anxiety want. I don't know why that one is my favorite. I don't know why, but it's just like in my head as she does it, and it always plays inside of it. I think it's just so cute the way that she kind of looks after at everyone, not really caring what they think, but kind of like, just try to judge me, see if I care. They're all just so great. And everyone else starts to watch. The cool part of when someone goes outside of the tribe's regular norms is that it frees everyone else. She kind of acts like a shield. If anyone else does anything within the range of a little bit silly but not as silly as her, it still doesn't matter. She protects everyone else from judgment, because if anyone's gonna judge, they're gonna judge her over them. And so that starts to free up the entire tribe. They can now come out of their shell and be able to enjoy themselves a little bit more. And that's the neat thing. So a lot of people think that they might be introverted, but they're actually dealing with social anxiety. And the way that you can tell the difference is that you ask yourself, do I actually want to do more things, but I'm worried about what people will think, if people will be looking at me or laughing, and so I'm not doing those things. Now, it doesn't actually say that you might be an introvert or extrovert, but it definitely says that it's probably social anxiety, not your introversion or extroversion, that is changing your behavior. Then what you would have to ask yourself is, so I want to do more than what I am doing, but do I actually enjoy it when I get positive affirmation and enjoyment from the group? Do I feed off of that? Introverts aren't going to have this, I wish I could do more. They really just don't care to be able to do it or not. And now, there are also two different dynamics. You can have social anxiety or not, and you can be introverted or extroverted. So yes, you can be an introvert and also have social anxiety. So you kind of have to play with both of those two different things. One, do I want to do more than what I'm doing? And two, do I feed off of other people's positive energy, or do I kind of get exhausted from that and want to go back home and relax? And you see how everyone else starts to loosen up and have fun. It only takes one person to be able to create a new group, and then other people want to join that group because they want to be part of that energy. Reminds me of that guy that started his own dance party. He kind of went off onto his own and is dancing to the music and just being silly and not caring. And then one more person joined him. It's the second person that also takes a lot of courage, not just the first, because that second person normalizes the first person and also risks judgment. And then after that, group of people started to join up because they also want to break free from all of those needs and norms and just have fun. And what would you be doing if you really didn't care what other people were thinking? What would you try? What would you risk? The way to get over having social anxiety is to not just change the way that you think about it. How does this really matter? Is this going to make a difference? Is this judgment going to kill me or not going to kill me? Will I be able to survive it? But also then you have to go through. So you have to have that positive thought process of, I'm proud of myself for breaking out of my comfort zone and risking being judged. But then you actually have to do things outside of your comfort zone. And it doesn't have to be as extreme as dancing as though no one is watching you. It's that slow progression of going a little bit outside of your comfort zone, then going back to where you feel comfortable, and then going a little bit outside of your comfort zone. You want to repeat this process about 6 to 8 times for each level of anxiety that you feel. And then after a while, the threshold of fear that you feel for something goes down. So if you have social anxiety, you 100% can get over it, and you really should. It's one of those things that can make a huge difference to your life progress, your choices, the jobs that you take, and the things that you end up enjoying or not enjoying. What about introversion versus extroversion? I'll be honest, most people that are introverts don't actually want to change to be extroverts, but then you would do the same thing. This is more of a personality type than it is something that is anxiety induced. So often you're born with how introverted or extroverted you are. Most people don't really want to change that. I have very few cases where someone wants to be more extroverted who isn't. But sometimes you're so introverted because it's also a piece of social anxiety that's playing upon your introversion. So if you deal with the anxiety, you can kind of see where you are. If you don't feel comfortable, though, talking to people and sharing things, again, that would be more of a sign that it's a social anxiety and not actually introversion or extroversion. Because introverts are able to talk and share and be themselves. There's not an anxiety that's playing off of it that's holding them back. It's just they don't enjoy that, but they could still talk or share or hang out. But it's at more of an emotional cost to them. Introverts could be weird or do things that are strange and don't really care about it. Now, I'm not going to say don't really care because you may not be at the level of not caring what society thinks. It's kind of a spectrum. Yes, probably everyone cares a little bit what society thinks. It's very few people that don't care completely at all what society really thinks of them. Sometimes we can have the opposite effect. Sometimes people are going to act really strange or different as a defense mechanism to actually push people away. So people leave them alone. It's kind of their own protection that I'm going to be so strange that I'm going to push you away. I'm going to reject you in a way before you can reject me, because you're going to be rejecting me because of my actions, not because of who I actually am. And it's a way of hiding behind their strange behavior.
Whoever invented high heels clearly had a side hustle as a torturer.
Even though Wednesday and Bianca had a disagreement, Wednesday still talks to Bianca in a really relaxed way. She's not holding a grudge on her besides the basic competition that they have with each other, but on a personal level, she's still treating her like a person. And that kind of sharing right away lowers Bianca's guard.
Suffering test a woman.
Speaking of suffering, where's your date?
We had a little tiff about you.
There's so many characters on this show that share really deep emotions. Like if we were able to do that, if we were able to really share our truth in such an honest, open way, wouldn't relationships be so much easier to have? Which takes a lot of risk. This is Bianca being able to have the ego strength to not worry that she's going to be judged by Wednesday, even though they have a little bit of animosity with each other, which is a huge risk. And a lot of people with higher levels of social anxiety wouldn't be able to do that because it's that fear of being judged, and especially being judged for who you are.
You don't know what it's like.
Being beautiful and popular.
You're lucky.
Do tell?
You don't care what people think of you.
Honestly, I wish I cared a little more.
You want to care a little bit so that you're not so far out of society that you're not going to be relatable and people don't feel comfortable with you. But you don't want to care so much that it's going to stop you from doing the things that you want to do. So if you ask yourself if you cared less what people thought, if you didn't worry about failure or judgment, what would you be doing right now? And then slowly make a plan, little tiny steps. But you want to remember while you're doing this is to be proud of yourself. Be proud for risking being judged or failing at something or being laughed at. The better you get at that, you really do become anxiety proof. And all of your dreams will then be in your path. Not all of us are fortunate enough to have Nevermore students to keep us safe from the dangers of the internet. Lucky for us, though, we do have today's sponsor, NordVPN. For example, when I travel, I can't access streaming services I pay for, or I can't get the same shows in all the different countries that I go to. Except with NordVPN, I can. Just pick my country and I get my content. Or I try to log in with Gmail or YouTube and it freaks out and wants me to verify all over again. But with NordVPN, it's like I never left. Everyone and everything is happy, all with amazing speed and convenience. Plus, with NordVPN's threat protection, all my connections are safe from malicious attacks, ad tracking, and all those other supervillain energy on the internet these days. It's super easy. And if I'm saying that, that's saying a lot. Connect with one click or auto-enable auto-connect for zero-click protection with up to 6 devices on every major platform. And because you watched my video right now, head on over to NordVPN/Georgia Dow to get a 2-year plan plus 4 additional months with a huge discount. It's risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee. So head on over to nordvpn.com/Georgia Dow or click on the link below and try it yourself. Clicking on that link really does help out my channel, and so does hitting up this playlist for more videos on psychology of your favorite shows and video games. Hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Let me know what was your favorite Wednesday dance and what are you like on the dance floor in the comments below.